We're so close to the end now.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Will Kratos die in God of War Ragnarok? This is a question that has gripped the minds of God of War fans from the moment the last game came out and has not let go to this day. I have myself contributed to the conversation and touched on this topic in several videos I made, but today I have something different. A new development, a new discovery that can potentially hint at our hero's death more than ever before. And more than that, it could hint at who will deliver the killing blow, and yes, this is a character we have already been introduced to. But how? Every inch, every pixel of God of War 2018 has been analyzed. There is no definitive answer. Or maybe there is, but somewhere that no one else has looked. As you know, a PC port has been released this January, which gave access to those sweet game files. And there was something interesting sent there to me by an old friend. Something that regular people cannot access. You may recall that I have an informant in Santa Monica studio. Well, he or she or they sent me something interesting. Sent me this. From my understanding, this is a cut character from God of War 2018 and wasn't really supposed to see the light of day. So what, you'd say? What does a cut character have to do with the death of Kratos? As it turns out, everything. Let me tell you what I found out. I did some research about God of War lore, about Norse mythology, and nothing. Not to mention the quality leaves a lot to be desired. The photo was obviously made in a big rush by my informant. Until I stumbled upon this Twitter page and the profile picture, our subject. Perfect match. Who is this Captain Kubei? Sorry, I'm not good at foreign names. Where'd he get this concept art? A short search, and it's all clear. He is, or was, a Santa Monica employee, but he has concept art of a cut character as his profile picture? Very odd, but great for us, because we can analyze this character much closer now. Looking at this is very confusing. The details don't make any sense at all, until you start putting a little logic to them. Let's look a little deeper. This character is wearing modern day clothes, which is by itself odd. It means that this character has lived for centuries, which likely means that he's a god. The uniform has the Kratos tattoo mark, and Kratos' tattoo on his face as well. The man is gifted with the sight of the giants, has a little Huldra Brothers pin, and let's not forget he has the Blades of Chaos themselves. Let's think about all that for a moment. This character is a god, and a friend of the giants, with incredible respect to Kratos reflected on his uniform and his face, which means he likely knew Kratos, possesses the blades, and also seems to have been close to Brock and Sindri. Reminds you of anyone? No? Look at that smirk. Doesn't this guy seem a little bit like a trickster to you? Yes, that's right. I have reasons to believe that this character is none other than Loki himself. That explains his special eyes, since he's a giant, a little memory of the Huldra, and of course, incredible tribute to his father and his Spartan origin. Atreus already has a scar shaped as Kratos' tattoo, it was only a matter of filling it in. Yes, it seems that a character model for modern-day Loki has been even in the files for 2018. My guess is that they were planning to implement this in the Alfheim Light section, showing the future, but this was obviously cut, likely because it would be way too spoilery, as a modern-day Loki is very likely a post-credit scene sort of material for Ragnarok. But I'm sure you're asking yourself, or me, you're asking me to yourself, what does this have to do with the death of Kratos? Am I saying that Loki will be the one to end his father? And if so, why? Look again. The answer is right in front of you. Look at what he's wearing. The more devoted God of War fans already know what I'm talking about. Alright, I'm not going to keep the suspense any longer. The reason Loki is wearing a captain uniform is because he's a descendant of the boat captain.
Oh my god!
is the boat captain? I suspect most of you know, but just in case, here's a refresher. The boat captain was a captain of a boat back in Greece, and his vessel had the misfortune to be attacked by the Hydra, who devoured the captain. Luckily, or unluckily, the ghost of Sparta was around and killed the beast. By some miracle, the boat captain hung on the entire time and thought to have been saved by Kratos, only to be killed all the same.
I didn't come back for you.
Later in the game, Kratos falls down into Hades, uses the clinging captain to escape, and ensures the poor man reaches the river Styx. Kratos even manages to kill him again when he's already a soul during the battle against the barbarian king. So clearly, Kratos has done a lot of terrible things to the boat captain. It is fair to say the Ghost of Sparta ruined his life, humiliated him, and managed to kill him 3 times. And such sin does not go unpunished. The obvious question is, how in the fuck is Loki related to the boat captain? The captain was here, and Loki is here, and he's a giant, but as Kratos said,
what does it all mean?
That I was not the only parent with secrets.
in God of War 2018, you can come across this map on the shores of Nine that reads, "With the boat captain in the belly of the Hydra, the key was mine. I traveled to a new land, but my ship wrecked and sunk along with my precious key." This makes things much more plausible. The boat captain was an older man, and who would be the next in command and inherit his key, if not his son? Now, his son would obviously have similar resentment to the pale tattooed man, the killer of his father, and would naturally want justice to come at some point. Unfortunately for him, Kratos became the god of war, which made the avenging part more complicated. So instead, he left Greece for good, traveling to a new land, as the map said. And so, he reached Midgard. Now, it's important to note that this was hundreds of years prior to the events of God of War 2018, and Midgard was a very different place from what we've seen, a much more peaceful, lively place, full of people and other races. The captain's son clearly survived the crash and likely stayed to live in Midgard, which naturally means he would marry and have children there, and since Midgard was not a human-only realm at the time, it is not impossible that the son's wife was a giant. See where I'm going with this? Of course, the son would tell his wife and children about the demise of his father and the terrible pale man with red tattoos who ruined his life and shamed their bloodline. And of course, the son's children would pass the tale to their children. The terror of the Ghost of Sparta would travel from the seas of the Aegean all the way to Jotunheim. Decades would pass, things would change. The Aesir would launch a bloody campaign against the Jotnar, forcing them to leave Midgard behind, except for one, Laufey the Just. All of you know how little we know about Faye. We know she hides a lot, something that has to do with Loki and his purpose. Naturally, a lot of it has to do with the revenge against the Aesir and the return of the Jotunkind in Loki and Angrboda, but there could be more to it. Another secret. Faye is the descendant of the boat captain, and at last she would avenge her distant relative by killing Kratos, but not herself, through her son, Loki. Why would Faye not kill Kratos herself when she meets him? Well, Faye, as a giant, has prophetic vision. She knew Kratos is the only being powerful enough to confront the Aesir and cause their end, and she knew their child would be up to the task to avenge and restart the Jotnar race after they were all wiped out. So she did it. She married the enemy of her bloodline because she knew she could use him to destroy the Aesir. But after Ragnarok happens, after Kratos has served his purpose, Loki can finally find out. He can finally learn about his true lineage and what his father had done. And he would have no choice but to avenge his bloodline, his mortal bloodline. He would kill his father. After centuries, justice would finally be served. The death of the boat captain is the first terrible thing we've ever seen Kratos commit, and it would finally be time for retribution to come. Loki will kill Kratos. Of course, he would want to honor both his ancestors. Kratos taught him how to be a god, a good god, and he will immortalize him by copying his father's tattoo and taking his blades. And to honor the boat captain, he would take up his role. Loki is destined to lead the ship Naglfar during Ragnarok, and he shall continue to do so, evidently, until modern times, which, like I said, I assume will be the epilogue to Ragnarok. This is of course just a theory based purely on a semi-leaked concept art. It's crazy that such a potentially spoiler-heavy character model was in the files of 2018, but here we are. If this comes true, it would honestly be a great tribute from Santa Monica to tie the old games to the current one and link the start of the first God of War to the end of Ragnarok. A huge thank you to my contact and Kaptain Kubei for showing this concept art to this world. I don't know how this was never taken down, but here we are. And you too, dear viewer. Thank you for watching.